Welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. If you've been watching Newsworthy Stories, you know I cover a lot of golf. And when I'm out there on the green, the one conversation you're going to hear is, how do I improve my golf swing? Well, I had a firsthand look of working with Janine Young of Group Golf Life, and she was working with Carter Bonas, the teenage CEO of Spectrum Golf. Carter Bonas, the teenage CEO of Spectrum Golf, invited to Flagstick Golf Performance in Boynton Beach.
Hi Carter, hi Jacqueline, welcome to Flagstick.
He's training with Janine Young of Group Golf Life to work on the mechanics of his movement and his golf swing.
You just get tight, you know, you wake up, I'm just tighter. So if my muscles and my hamstrings and the back of my leg are tight, I might normally do this without any problem, keep my hips back, but now I'm tight, and so that can lead to this.
Janine Young is a certified golf fitness and biomechanics specialist and uses the golf simulators and technology to determine what's working and what may be hindering your golf swing.
This device up here, the launch monitor, is seeing visually, it's got a video camera on it, it's seeing the ball flight. But it'll also, when I put these little reflective dots on this club, it will see the club and the club head. So we'll also get data to determine where the face of the club is positioned. Is it open? Is it closed? These are electromagnetic sensors. They are going to read. They're going to identify where Carter is, and then they'll read as he moves. Your shoulders like a backpack for me. I'll hold that there, and then we got this side there. Nobody that's unflexible goes like this to put that on. You got to be fairly flexible to do that.
Oh, why did you only put sensors on my left arm and not my right?
It creates this 3D image when I click that calibration, so it's assuming where both of your arms and your hands are. Really, your entire body is based on those points. There you go. You're definitely not C-postured. Yeah. You're good. You can fire when ready. There we go. That's another striped. Absolutely striped. All right. Do you mind hitting 4 more for me? Okay, perfect. Whoa, there's 2 right on top of each other. Really nice. Instead of your shoulder being here, you're a little bit here. And we call that, you've heard of that, flat shoulder plane. So you know that when you turn, like here's my spine, when I rotate, these 2 shoulders, I can do this and I can do this. And that's really happening through my rib cage. But this torso, when I hinge, when I rotate, I really don't want to add side bend. And what you're doing is just a little bit of extension here. And it could be that you're just tight in this lat. So when you go ahead and with momentum, the momentum of just your backswing, you might just pull up out of posture just a little bit. Which the next move for most of us is then we have to take the club out a little bit to bring it back under on plane. So if we can keep you from doing this, then your movement becomes more efficient. It's more simple. What's considered tour tempo is a ratio of 3 counts back to 1 count down. And the average pro is a little faster than that. And so that's why it says 2.5 to 1. So if we look at Carter's numbers, he is right in there.
Carter, who is also the author of Swinging Beyond the Spectrum, How Autism Became My Superpower on and Off the Golf Course, also getting a chance to meet the owner, who has something in common with Carter.
So I'm Carter Bonas, and I am the CEO of Spectrum Golf. And I also have my own nonprofit called Carter Spectrum Golf, where I give free golf lessons to youth and veterans.
That's awesome.
And everything that I'm wearing right now is part of my apparel line.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
And you
Also, just so you know.
Yeah, I didn't know you wrote a book.
Yeah, this is
Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
Oh yes, and this is my book that I released called Swing Beyond the Spectrum, and it's about the story of my life and the challenges and struggles I had to get through and overcome.
That's awesome. I have a son, who's 7 years old, that he has autism.
Yeah.
You have a very cool logo.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Carter finding this automated putting green fascinating. With a touch of a few buttons, you can change the terrain to practice tough shots
see,
and
it
even
shows
play
us
golf games
where
on
the
it
path, the
like
ideal
this.
Nice. So now this one, we're going to the bullseye, not to the hole.
Got it.
Do you get points if you're in each string? Oh, does it turn off the minute you cut? Yeah.
Yeah, so now from here you're going to hit it into the lit up.
Got it.
Good. I think when you practice, having like different games to make it competitive, like instead of just like before we were just hitting that same putt over and over, there's value to that, but having some where he's now kind of competing with himself and trying to get a specific goal, and also like the variance of the different putts. I think it's a fun thing to practice, and it's good to help get better.
Flagstick Golf Performance is not only a place for indoor golf training, but golf gear. Take a look at what they have to offer.
Flagstick, we're really for anybody who cares about golf and wants to get better, where we've had the full range of players here, from multiple people take their first swings ever to having PGA Tour players come in here to practice. And we're really open for anybody who wants to get better and wants to enjoy this game.
Before leaving, Carter leaving behind an autographed copy of his book. Can't wait until they read his story. You can meet Carter in person at his upcoming golf tournament on April 25th at the Country Club of Coral Springs in Coral Springs, Florida. Go to carterscharittygolf.com for details.
Just rotate your hips without your upper body movement. Your squat, good. Just point this arm right at me, yeah. And so,
joining me now to talk more about biomechanics is Janine Young of Group Golf Life. Janine, thank you so much for joining me, but thank you so much for introducing Carter to what you do. Can you tell us more about it?
thank you, Jacqueline, for having me on. I can. I am a Titleist Performance Institute certified golf performance trainer. And what that is a lot of big words. Ultimately, I like to help people improve their golf game by helping them understand how they move, where they have strengths and weaknesses, how we can address those weaknesses through training, and exploit the strengths that they have so that they can continue to play this great game and work towards getting better.
It is a number one question, right?
Absolutely.
That's out there is, improving that golf swing. But I don't think that people really think about how they feel, like the tightness of the body that you talked about. We're just out there. I'm just starting out. You see, I brought the golf clubs.
I love your golf clubs.
My brand new golf clubs, right? My prop today. Because Janine was gracious enough to take me out, to play my first round of full golf, on a golf course. But really, I'll tell you, I have the ugliest swing in the world, but I know that Janine can help me because I don't know how, the proper ways to do certain things. But that movement, tell us about how important that movement is.
What we like to say, it's the most complex biomechanical movement pattern there is in sport. So, it's like people expect to grab those golf clubs, and particularly people like yourself that's played a sport or two. We think we can just pick up that golf club and swing like we're, Tiger Woods or Annika or whomever, but we can't. Even if we play something that's similar in nature, like baseball, it's a swinging action, or volleyball, there's similarities because it's a cross crawl pattern, they say. So while there's all these sports skills that are helpful to playing golf, golf is pretty unique in the fact that it's done from a stationary position. We've got shots that require hitting it hard. We have shots that require hitting through a weird grass or a terrain. You're on a weird terrain. So it's really unique in the fact it's not as reactive as some of the other sports that we play. And because the ball's not moving and we're relatively stationary at the start. And then it's also, there's a lot of thinking. We've got a lot of time to think. And so, like life, a lot of times having a lot of time to think is not helpful. Sometimes you just need to go. You got to clear your head and go. So that's the other thing I love about golf, is it's such a reflection of our challenges in life, and why so many of us love it, because you can meet people in any walk of life, and if they have golf in common, you have golf in common, and it's like you get each other, you get the struggles, you get each other. So anyways, the movement part is super important. You to move to expect to improve in golf without understanding your movement and addressing those strengths and weaknesses, understanding how your body moves, what it actually feels like to be in those positions. It's a real challenge, and there's a lot of different ways to get there, and you can use a lot of different modalities. When I say modalities, I mean training methods, whether it's a kettlebell or a band or just your body in the club. There's so many different ways to do it.
So tell me a little bit about your partnership with Flagstick Golf Performance and how people can, come and train with you there. And is that the only place, type of place that they can train? Does it need to be in the simulator type atmosphere, or can you do it in person?
I can do what I do anywhere. The piece of technology that you saw me use with Carter is K-Motion's 3D motion capture system. And so while that equipment is portable, it doesn't like to work in certain environments. With all the electromagnetic frequency interferences and on the ranges, even now, because of the technology a lot of golf courses have on the ranges, it interferes. So really, as far as that portion goes, and that's the evaluation portion, that is done individually. It's not something you can do as a group unless you came as a group and each did individual sessions. That's something, because I've worked with lots of golf teams as well, university and high school teams, where we've done all that testing, but you do that individually. But as far as the training goes, I can do that training anywhere. I can come to you, you can come to me. That's just, the follow-up can be done wherever, individually and by group.
And what would you say is, the most common thing that you find, with the golfers that you work with? What are some of the most common weaknesses or things that need to be worked on?
Yeah, that most people, everybody that plays golf wants to hit the ball farther. So there's power. You need power to hit the ball farther. Obviously, when I talk about, the majority of the clientele, if you're in this business, a lot of them in terms of performance and training is people wanting to stay playing longer. So I've got a client in his 90s, and of course he still wants to hit it farther. and then I've got the junior golfers who are just growing and they want to hit it farther, and everybody in between. So the power also requires mobility. So if you're too tight, you have short range of motion, you can't generate, or the power is generally stunted. So it requires both mobility training and stretching, and whether, again, different modalities like yoga or functional range conditioning. There's lots of different methodologies out there, Pilates, and whether you're, again, you can gain mobility in work with a kettlebell or a dumbbell. So we see people that have limitation. You hear people that express their back hurts. Well, generally that's a problem with hip mobility. So, and with whether, again, it's a junior golfer, you get junior golfers like Carter, while he's very mobile in some areas, he's kind of tight in other areas that are necessary to transfer that energy and create optimal power and distance and accuracy. And all of those things are important. So, going back to hip mobility, I might have somebody that you look at and think, wow, they're great turn and everything else, but they're really, really tight. They can't touch their toes. So the problem with that is that their back over time is going to get a little tight, whether if they don't warm up well enough to play, or if they get tight as they're playing. So you have to address that's pretty common. Anything that can, when people talk about the thing that gets them out of playing golf being a back injury, we tend to look at, and going back to the Titleist Performance Institute, the screening process we do, whenever there's an area that is injured or sore, you look at what's above and below it, like the joints above and below it. So if it's my low back that's sore, I look at this thoracic spine, which is my torso that turns in the golf swing, right? You want this torso to turn, but you want your hips actually resist that turn, and that's how we generate power. So hips and torso, if those aren't working properly, we end up with a back issue and not as good ball striking, which is, ball doesn't go far.
One of the things that I did like about being in that simulator was the fact that when you were in the right position, it made this tone.
Yes.
So, when you're out there in the open, it's hard to practice something and then repeat it and repeat it. But the one good thing I thought with that simulator and how you were working with Carter was that when you got him, when it sensed that you were in the right position, then you could, it's saying, hey, you're in the right position now. This is how you should feel. This is where you should hit. And to me, that was a strength that I think that you can't get outside, but you could get there, is to
Absolutely.
be able to practice how you feel in that particular swing or in that particular position. And I thought that was a plus.
It is. That's the K-motion biofeedback. And we were actually putting Carter in the positions that he would optimize his golf swing, like making sure that his hips were tilted in the right position. If they weren't too much underneath him, it's difficult to jump or push off if your tailbone's underneath you, like having your tail between your legs. You kind of stick your bum out and keep your core engaged and push off the ground like you're going to jump. So that's one of those that gives you that shoulder where the shoulder should be, is another one that's great for biofeedback. And a lot of people, it's so subtle. They think they're not sure if they're in the right place. And to your point, that having that positive biofeedback while you're, as I say, grooving your movement, you get the name now. You're grooving it, and it is. We already have a movement pattern. We might need to jackhammer that pattern a little bit, that path. And that's a complicated neuromuscular process, and it requires nerves firing. And then as those nerves fire, it creates a sheath And that's like paving the road. And so when we're paving this road, if we already have this pattern, we might need to repattern to create more optimal ball striking. So if we do a little jackhammering and we create this new road, then your body's going to want to take the new road, and it won't want to take the old jackhammered road anymore. But it takes time. It takes time to regroove or repattern movement. Now, that's the reason why kids, they generally don't learn, if they have the opportunity, they don't learn the bad pattern. But when their bodies change, they may alter their patterns because of growth. And that's why junior golf training is important, because there's very specific things that they can exploit or work on during different parts of their growth spurt that will help them, again, to optimize performance down the line. So it's all about these, these blocks and how we take them. And then the biofeedback helps with reinforcing the pattern and that path that our new path for training.
One thing I know is that as I was watching and you sharing and you pointing to all the, the different data, this is an incredible training that you have. And I know that you have more training. It's not just biometrics training, it's TPI. And I know you were you have to tell us the story of you're like one of the first of 50, I'll say it wrong, but tell us a little bit about the training that you have, and then, how we can reach out to you and get connected.
Sure. My journey in golf performance training started back in Kansas City. I had the good fortune of working with a young lady that had just recently started working with Tom Watson. He's multiple PGA Tour and Champions Tour winner, multiple major winner, and pretty famous in Kansas City and maybe all over the world. But I ended up having the opportunity to work with him and did for a long time over the years. During that time, I met Greg Rose and Dave Phillips. Dave actually worked in Kansas City. They are the co-founders of the Titleist Performance Institute. And the Titleist Performance Institute certifies, it's a certifying body. It's really the largest collection of golf-specific training, performance training. It's a collective of minds and information and just great people that do a great job supporting each other. But we have different tracks. Everybody starts in one place, golf fitness trainer. And then from there, it breaks out to golf fitness instructors, which was my original. That's your strength and conditioning coaches. That's your personal trainers that get into, or group exercise people that may work with golfers, may not have a ton of golf knowledge, but they work with golfers. Then you have golf coaches. The golf coaches, a lot of them don't have the fitness knowledge. So the whole idea is it's a team approach. You have medical professionals that in other countries, they're called physios, and their roles are everything from hands-on, like a physical therapist, hands-on trainer, massage therapist, to somebody that helps during the injury process, athletic trainers. That's generally the chiropractors, acupuncturists. They're in that collective group. And then we've got power specialists and biomechanics specialists, which I obtained that as well, and the junior golf specialists. So those of us that have really drank the Kool-Aid, and this started in 2004 for me, we were the first group. Greg had an original certification called Advantage Golf. And those of us that had gone through his 3 levels of Advantage Golf, we clept out or tested out of that first level of TPI. And then going forward, anytime a new certification popped up, in our area of interest, that's what most of us did. So there's pretty good big group of us, about 50 of us that started, that still exist, that still are gainfully working, and so maybe some of them have even retired. Not me, not yet.
Not you. Yeah, no, it's very exciting. And, Carter does do some training of his own. He does train children in particular with his nonprofit Carter Spectrum Golf. So he not only owns his line of golf apparel, but he, trains kids and even veterans to play golf and provides golf gear. And sure enough, this past week, I see a picture with Janine Young and Carter's mom, Dr. Carter. and I come to learn that you're helping and you're, looking to volunteer. And so I'm looking forward to seeing some video and some stories around that as we go forward. But if you're interested in learning more about your swing, about the movement of your body, getting more flexible, Janine Young is the person you should reach out to with Groove Golf Life. You can see a lot of her videos on Instagram at the Groove Golf Life. And just, reach out, ask her questions. And she's very accessible.
I answer my phone.
Extremely, as you can tell, I don't even have to tell you how knowledgeable she is. She just spews it out, right? So I tell you, there's so much content. I'm like, what is she saying?
It's a lot. I tell people golf it's not easy and it's not simple. And having fun is easy and simple. And that's what golf should be about. And meeting people and being around people and being outside and being in the sun and moving, and all those things are good for your health and for life. And if you put a little work in with this other stuff that I do, or figure out how to make what you're already doing physically fit into that, your golf training, then I think you can enjoy it even more forever and ever.
Well, as you saw at the end of that story, there's more to come. I had to split it up because there was just so much they were able to do in actually such a short time. But we want you to see some of the exercises she was sharing with Carter. And, maybe you'll, take them on or begin training with Janine herself. But it gives you an idea of some of the things that you might need to work on. And so, Janine, I just want to thank you for, stopping by today. We'll be continuing this conversation as we go forward. But, I'm just glad we had a chance to cover that story. It was just, this is a long time coming. Actually,
yeah, that's all right.
This years ago. Yeah. And so I'm really glad that we've caught
and
up.
We need to get back out. We got to get out again.
Yes.
You got to find it. Check your calendar.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Thanks for joining me on Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez.